Okay, so we're in chapter 4. We're looking at some MPLS traffic protection mechanisms. Of course, the first one is to have a secondary path. Now, using the keywords primary and secondary, and by having these paths configured here, almost like named placeholders, we're able to configure two paths on the LSP. So I've shortened label switch path to LSP, and here the keyword primary, primary 1, and secondary, secondary 1 configures those two paths. Now, we'd like the second path pre-configured, so we're using the keyword standby. Obviously, there's got to be the bandwidth to do that. We're going to be changing our reservation style from fixed filter to shared explicit. And what that basically means is with fixed filter, the primary and the secondary path, their bandwidths would add up, and you'd need a bandwidth of 100 if you had 250s. When you change the reservation style to shared explicit, then they work together and it's only counted as a cost of 50, or a bandwidth of 50. So the adaptive keyword does that. We don't want the, if the secondary path comes up and signals, we don't want it reverting to the primary path. When we set the revert timer to 0, it prevents that reversion. We can also set both paths as secondary. So use the keyword secondary twice, and then if the second path came up, it wouldn't revert to the primary because they're both secondary. You can actually manually select which secondary you would prefer as well. Okay, so that's to do with the secondary path. Now we're turning on fast reroute. Let's have a bit more detail on fast reroute. So basically, fast reroute is looking at a single path. However, it creates a number of deter sort of paths where it expects there may be trouble from the ingress to the egress. So it's trying to protect the path all the way to the egress. It's looking after the single LSP path here, and it does it with these multiple deter paths to go around. They're pre-computed and they're pre-established. All right then. Now to contrast that with link protection is looking after the link itself, and there may be many paths over the link, and the link protection will protect all of those paths. And when you turn on link protection, there's two places to turn it on. Firstly, on the interfaces themselves, you have to make the feature available by turning on link protection, and then you have to choose on the label switch path to request it, and that's done with either link protection or node link protection. So here, if you put link protection or node link protection on the path, then it will try and signal that as the path is established, and as it reaches a router, of course, the link needs to be enabled for link protection for it to be signaled. And then finally, node link protection just allows, it's the same as link protection, but it will protect the whole node, so it will do a bypass path around it. And then to be precise, with node and link protection, the paths are called bypass paths, and with fast reroute, they're called deter paths.